Actually, no, does that mean that we're on Bolton?
We're on Bolton Access Television.
Okay,
yes.
so we have a quorum. See people in the gallery, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. The Nashoba Regional School Committee at 6:02. And you'll notice that Leah Viverito is not here tonight, and so since I am the vice chairperson, I am going to be acting as the chair for this meeting tonight. If there is no objection on the committee, I am going to propose that we move the school committee reorganization up the agenda before we go into executive session. And I noticed the first thing that I've forgotten to do is do the Pledge of Allegiance. So let's do that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. All right. So I'm not seeing any objection to moving the election, the chair, vice chair, and secretary up. The reason for this is so that we can have a secretary in place before we go into executive session, so we can have somebody, designated to be taking notes. So.
Well, you're forming the committee now, is what you're doing.
Yeah, we can form the committee. So with that, I will nominate Leah Viverito to be the chair of the Nashoba Regional School Committee. And let me just remind the committee of the process that we're going to take for electing our members, because it's a little bit different than the votes we usually take. So we made a nomination. We're going to need a second. Then I'll open up the floor to other nominations. Are there any other nominations for chairperson? Okay. Then we will take a vote by ballot. Each of you has a piece of paper with a paper clip in front of you. What you're going to do is write down your name and the name of the person that you're voting for chair. And we only have one nominee, but we're going to go through this process. You're going to fold up your ballot. You're going to hand it up to Alita, and then she is going to count the ballots and announce the result.
So, can I ask a clarifying question? So you want two names. You want our name and you want the name of the person voting.
Yes. Yep. I think that's the practice that we've kind of evolved towards over the years. Yeah, I think I did, but I'll ask again, are there any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, so we will take the ballot vote.
There's a big gap in there.
Here, I'll come over and collect from this side.
Yeah, this is unbalanced.
It's not super secret. I'm not concerned about my secret.
So Lita, we have 8 members in attendance tonight. Nomination for Leah Viverito. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, the next position that we're electing for is the vice chair person. And I'd like to nominate myself to be vice chair. Are there any other nominations? Okay. So with that, I will call for the vote by ballot. So remember, write down your name. Am I still waiting for one second? Unanimous for Amy Cohen as vice chair. Okay, all right, the third position we are electing for is the position of secretary. And I think we're going to find ourselves with two candidates for this position. We have 8 members, so it's possible that we might be collecting ballots twice tonight, but I'm going to nominate Chandra Simon for secretary.
Second.
Okay, are there any other nominations?
I have a nomination for Scott Powell.
Okay. We need a second on that.
Can I second myself?
Sure.
I'll second it.
All right, so we have 2 candidates. Are there any other people willing to take on this position? Okay, so I'm going to call the vote by ballot. Everybody knows the process now, so you're going to write your name, and you're going to write the name of the person you're voting for. Is there any discussion before we take a vote? Scott, would you like an opportunity to say something? And Chandra, probably appropriate.
I'd just like to say the only reason I put myself as a candidate for secretary is because Chandra has been secretary for B&W for the last year, and I've been frustrated by the lack of some of the administrative tasks that he's performed as the secretary, and so I just think I could do a better job. So that's why.
Okay. I nominated Chandra because I think we've tried to have a position of leadership represented by each town. So Leah is from Stowe, I'm from Bolton, Chandra was willing to serve as secretary, and he's from Lancaster, and so we just keep some equity in the committee in that regard. So, is there any other discussion by members? Okay, I appreciate both of you putting your name and throwing your name in the hat. Say that again? Do I have maths?
Yeah.
Mysterious.
Should we? Did you write your name on this? Oh, that's over here. Okay. All right, so we got 4 more. All right, well, this isn't the first time the school committee has had a tie vote, because when we were hiring a superintendent, we found ourselves in a situation
Yes, we
more
did.
than once.
Yes, we did.
So, I think what this calls for is, we're gonna have to collect ballots again. And one person is gonna have to change their vote until we get to a majority, unless there's any other,
No, you're just looking for discussion.
yeah. Should we, Chandra or Scott, would you like to say anything else? Would either one of you like to withdraw a nomination? Or should we take another vote with the 2 candidates? Jackie, go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify, I appreciate both nominees putting their names forward. I do think that it's important to maintain balance.
Among the 3 towns.
Correct.
Thanks. Anybody else have anything to offer?
Can I just ask, just as a fairly new member still, in terms of the board being balanced, can I just ask, like generally speaking, like the, I don't want to say like the theory behind that, but like what kind of, what's the, like, what are people's feelings on that, just for understanding?
I can answer and then I can you add to this, but I think the idea that is that the chairperson has responsibility for running the meetings. In the absence of the chairperson, it goes to the vice chairperson. In the absence of the vice chairperson, it goes to the secretary. And so, in this way, each town has a shot at having leadership of the school committee. That's my understanding.
From an operational perspective, the way I utilize the 3 seats is it's tough to get a group together when you need to get out an important message or if you've got some things you need to relay. So I look to the executive board as the lead point of contact for that town contingency, for that representative group to interface with on those kind of matters. So that's just operationally how I utilize the executive board.
Thank you.
Are there any other clarifying questions or information that's relevant?
If everybody thinks it's more important to have each town represented, then, you know, I guess that's people's priority, right? So people should vote that way accordingly.
John, did you want to say something?
I'm ready to vote.
Okay. All right. Everybody ready to vote?
Did you not get live? That's okay. Oh, twice.
I voted twice.
The vote is 5-3, Shandor in the majority.
Okay. Do we need to read each ballot in this case?
Why?
No.
I'm just asking from your years of
We have-
collective experience.
We have never done it this way before.
Okay. All right.
So
Excellent.
I don't have any years of experience with this.
On the chair's instructions, that's the whole point of having the silent ballot. So
Okay. Excellent. All right. So we have elected our new officers. Thank you. Thank you, Scott, for putting your name in the hat. And
17 minutes for executive session.
Okay.
See something else.
all right, but we're going to move into executive session.
Guess not.
No.
yeah, we'd rather do executive session before we do executive.
Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. So our next order of business is going to be to go back to item 2, which is citizens' comments. I think everybody in the gallery is here related to the executive session and not here for public comment. Is that true? All right. The other thing I was remiss in doing before we got started was introducing our newest member to the school committee. Matt, would you like to take a minute to just introduce yourself to everybody and let us know a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Matt Knott. I live here in Bolton. Lived here about 3 years now, from the West Coast originally. Lifelong educator, taught kindergarten through like college courses, middle school, high school, you name it, I pretty much taught it. That's kind of a little bit about me. I don't think there's much else right now.
Okay, and we have one other new member to the school committee, but she could not be here tonight, so we will introduce her the next meeting. All right, so with that, we are going to move into an executive session. So I think the way this process is going to work is I'm going to dismiss everybody, make the motion and then bring them back in?
What you do is you make the motion for executive session.
Yep,
With the folks who are attending recognized in the motion.
yep.
And then everyone exits the room except the committee for instructions, and then once instructions are given, then we invite the other parties in to come present their grievance.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to move to enter into executive session at 6:02 p.m. pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, in this case cafeteria staff's paid time off accruals and use grievance. Session to include the school committee, Superintendent Downing, and Director of Human Resources Jessica Murdoch, Director of Finance and Operations Ross McCarran, Kevin Keaveney, Tim Brazili, Kristen Gallagher, Mike Tollison, and Ruth Merrick. Committee will reconvene to open session at the conclusion of executive session. Need a second.
Second.
Would you like me?
Roll call.
Okay. So we're going to take a roll call vote. John?
Yes.
Lindsay?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Sharon?
Yes.
Shondor?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Okay. We are live again. I see we have been rejoined by Bolton Access TV, so I am going to. What happened?
You must want to sleep. Yeah. Like everybody else.
Except for us. All right, so I'm going to call regular session back into session at 8:01 p.m. And I appreciate everyone's patience who has been waiting for this to resume. We are going to pick back up with item 5D, which is the 25-26 meeting calendar. If you look in your meeting materials, you will see that, excuse me while I get that back up. The 25-26 meeting calendar for the school committee has been shared with you all. I think the shouldn't be any surprises on there.
Would you like me to speak a little bit to it?
Yes.
This follows our methodology of our first meeting of the month being in person, our second meeting of the month being virtual. It's proving to be an effective methodology that is now allowed in Mass General Law. And the pattern works pretty well. And then we get into January. Note that the 14th will be the first budget workshop. Also note that when we get to the end of February, beginning of March, we have 3 consecutive weeks of meetings because of the budget hearing. So we have the remote meeting on February 25th, the budget hearing, which is remote, on March 4th, and then in person is when we have to vote the budget in order to have it voted by March 15th. You'll note that in April, we are 2 weeks, or I should say 3 weeks between meetings because of the April vacation interruption there. And then the reorganizational meeting would happen on June 10th.
All right, thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
I think, so right now, it looks like the budget workshop is an in-person meeting. Did you want to switch that so that's a virtual? I think that's what we did this year.
It is what we did. We just laid out the calendar at the direction of the chair, so
Okay.
it's we can always amend that later in the year.
That's okay. I'm gonna wait to do that until Leah is back because she was part of
That's a
the
good
helping
question.
this, but
That's fine. I just didn't know if you wanted to switch that.
You're talking about March 4th versus March 11th?
No, January 14th is the workshop.
Oh, okay.
That's our marathon budget meeting. Get ready for that one. Get ready for that. Yeah. And Sharon suggested first, but we can take it up at a future time.
I think it's a question. The only other thing I'd like to point out on this calendar is that the school committee goal setting workshop is on the calendar for August 20th. There'll be more details to come on that, but everybody should mark their calendars and reserve that time.
It's an afternoon event, right?
It's usually like 4 to 8 or
Yeah.
5 to 8, that kind of thing.
Yeah. We do a 5 to 8 and dinner's provided.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna make a motion to accept the school committee meeting calendar for the 2026 school year.
Second.
As presented, okay. I don't know if anyone, we'll give it to Matt, the second. Is there any discussion other than what Sharon has offered that I will remind Leah about? Nope, seeing none, I will call a vote.
You don't need to call. Just raise your hand.
All right, we get to raise our hands for this one. All right, all in favor? Okay, that's unanimous, thank you. We just talked about the school committee goal setting workshop, so we can check that off of our list. Next up is the subcommittee assignment survey. And that is something that I believe will be emailed out to each person to allow you to rank your preference of subcommittees that you want to work on. And then the chairperson has the responsibility of assigning people to subcommittees. So look for that in your email box. I don't have it handy right now. All right, next up is our consent agenda, which is usually the first item of business, but tonight is not.
Motion to accept.
I'm going to move to approve the consent agenda of June 11th, 2025.
Second, yeah.
Okay, is there any discussion on any of these? Seeing none, I will take the vote. All in favor? Okay, that passed unanimously. Thank you. We are now on to my update, and I have no update. So the next item was the student representative report. I think that Ryan is not here tonight, so we will not be getting an update from Ryan. Did you want to say
Can I
something?
just make a quick comment?
Yeah.
We, Amy and Lee and I had a chance to engage with the high school student council, who actually took their seats today. Their first order of business was meeting us. Ryan will continue to be our school committee representative into his senior year. The junior will be elected once the freshmen are in the school and they host their school-wide election. So we'll meet our second student rep sometime, probably the second meeting in September.
Yeah. And the meeting that we had today was part of the work of the communication subcommittee. So we established a timeline of meeting with the student council 3 times a year. This was in the beginning, middle, and end. This was the end meeting with the student council, just to touch base on elections and explain what our process was going forward. So I'm very appreciative to the administration for setting that up and allowing that
Very welcome.
2 channels of communication to continue.
We have great students that are engaged, and it's
Yeah.
wonderful to have.
And I just want to bring into the conversation that we received a very, very nice letter from Ava Wyman, our other student representative. And I was going to read it as part of the chairperson update, but given the time, I'll skip it. But I just want to thank Ava, if she's watching, for that very, very nice letter, and wish her well. Okay, So the next item of business here is an update from our Dear Jay membership, and I'm going to pass it off to Jackie. Oh,
Don't forget me.
oh. Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll give you this one. Superintendent's report, I hope.
Yes. The most important item of business,
Oh, well,
superintendent's report.
hardly. We
Okay.
got lots of things.
Sorry about that.
It's a quick one tonight. Just letting the community know we had our school choice process. We had 28 applicants. All 28 were offered opportunities to join Nashoba. We did not need to host a lottery for any of the seats that we had available. So more to come. That does exceed the number of students that are leaving us via school choice. So as we were thinking about our budgetary model, we'll again just see that differential close, I would anticipate, in the coming year. And then I'm going to turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Friend that's going to briefly share some activity around the Summer Academy.
Right, thank you, Superintendent Downing. We're just super pleased to share with you the interest that we've received in our NRSD Summer Academy from our faculty and staff. Each summer, the Department of Teaching and Learning offers continued learning for Nashoba educators through professional development and curriculum work and different kinds of opportunities to continue the work of our strategic plan and at work at different grade levels and grade spans. And we are very pleased to share that we had a record number of interest and participation in Summer Academy. We had 179 registrations. Some educators registering for more than one session, but a total of 179 registrations. I think the interest to continue the work and continue the learning is just a testament to our Nashoba educators and their commitment to the work to continue throughout the summer. So thank you to our Nashoba educators for their commitment there. In addition to the professional learning opportunities, we are also pleased that we've received strong participation in our continued curriculum revision work. We have 50 educators participating in curriculum revision work this summer, including 29 educators at the high school. Those educators will continue to work on the curriculum efforts that we've engaged in during the year as it relates to deeper learning and digging into improving instructional experiences for our students and assessment opportunities. So shout out to our high school too for their commitment in working to deepen our collective practices as a district. In the update, we've provided some highlights of some of the offerings that we have provided to our educators, as well as you'll find a hyperlink to the Summer Academy brochure where you can take a look at the specific offerings and the details related to each offering. But again, just a thank you and a shout out to our faculty and staff for their continued work during the summer weeks.
So to give you the committee just a bit of a scope, that's 60% of our unit A employees are participating in those activities in the break. That's an extraordinary degree of participation, so we're extremely grateful to our educators. Mr. Keating, if you can pass that on to our educators as well.
I will, thank you.
We're very grateful for their efforts.
Okay, thank you very much for that update, and thank you to the educators for signing up for what sounds like it's going to be an amazing academy experience. Now we are on to the membership update from Jackie.
So I'm pleased to report that of the current 11 appointed advisory board members on DRJ, 7 of them are continuing on. So I want to thank Kathy, Lori, Joel, Trevon, Jessica, Beth, Jackie, and Owen for their continued work as we move into the academic year. There will be vacancies based on the recommendation provided by DRJ regarding the amount of work that's being asked for them to complete. So we will be looking for individuals who would like to fill those vacancies to please email Chairperson Viverito. And there is a particular request for any Lancaster residents because we do have a very robust, equally 50-50 Stowe and Bolton representation on DRJ currently. I do want to take the time to formally thank Lindsay Chavez, Kelly Waller, and Meg Foley for their continued work that is wrapping up during their time serving DRJ. And I know that Lindsay and Kelly in particular were serving for multiple years and made major contributions. So we just want to extend a thank you for their work in helping us uphold our communities and students and faculty to our commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And then I will, with permission, request that we vote in the 7 advisory members who would like to continue on. So I need to make a motion.
Do you want to make the motion?
Sure. I would like to motion to appoint the 7 identified members of DRJ Advisory as discussed.
A second.
Perfect. Is there any discussion? Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
Where would I find the 7 people's names?
I can email them to you, or I can just read them out loud to you if you prefer. Because I named
I
who they
think they're
were.
in the presentation too.
There's like 11 people in the presentation, so I don't know who we're voting for.
So it's Lori Burnett from Stowe, Joel McCarthy from Bolton, Siobhan De Leon, sorry, I mess up every time, and I'm going to mess up Beth's name too, I apologize. From Stowe, Jessica Corlango from Bolton, Beth Freidinger from Bolton, Jackie Spataro from Stowe, and Owen Hunter from Stowe. And so those are the 7 individuals who have put forth their name to continue on next year.
Okay. So we have 7 brave individuals willing to continue serving. Are there any other questions on the motion? All right, seeing none, I will take the vote. All in favor? Yes? Okay. I don't think anybody, I think everybody voted in favor of that, John? Yeah? Okay. Thank you for passing that unanimously. And then, is there a presentation? that
There
you
is, so
wanna
I'm just
share?
going to briefly go over some of the slides to highlight the major activities of DRJ this year, most of which we've already covered as a group when we went over our goals, because as everyone knows, we are asking DRJ to help the school committee uphold those values that we are identifying as a priority, not only as a district, but as a school committee. So if you, Alita, would you mind pulling that up?
Sure.
And then if you could just skip actually to slide 4, please.
Slide 4.
Yep, thank you. So again, this just articulates our vision, our shared vision. What I would like to just highlight, if Alita, you wouldn't mind moving to slide 6. So this is one of the main things that I think that for anyone who has not had the privilege of viewing a DRJ meeting, that they're really trying to ground their efforts in these equitable principles. This highlights the way that they come into every single meeting as a entity. So that just highlights some of what they think about when they're entering into the work that they do. On slide 7, so this is the major work that was accomplished. The guiding document was definitely a major accomplishment because it required DRJ to go through and really crosswalk and align our structure based on not only our policy but also the principles and guidelines that the school committee abides by. They also spent a considerable amount of time thinking about the organizational structure of DRJ and making sure that that's crosswalking with how the school committee would like DRJ to be run. They also had the opportunity to review and make recommendations to all of us, which some of us were there for, regarding the priorities for the equity audit and finally the decision-making tool. So you can go through individually if you want at some point. There is a link to the guiding document, and I would encourage any of our school committee members to review that, especially as we're heading into our workshop in August, to really think about how we're deepening our role as a school committee. And then also for newer members, those that are here, those that are not. One of the major outcomes of the work that they did was on the equitable decision-making tool, which was really like something that they've been working on for a really long time that we've been asking for, and it's really an opportunity for us to put into practice in real time, whether it be here as a school committee with the policy subcommittee or any advisory or subcommittee work. So I'm really excited that we have that as a tool. And then lastly, on slide 12, these are the focus areas. So it's continued work around helping support the school committee in looking at and thinking about our equity audit, implementing the decision-making tool, and I think really making sure that we're not only looking to DRJ as advisors, but how are we able to make more inclusive structure. And so that is the main points that DRJ had shared in their slides, but I have to say, if you ever want to take any time on our landing page on the school district website and look at all the collective work that DRJ has done, that's a really, I think, nice point for any new committee members to kind of look at the evolution of DRJ as advisors to the school committee, but then also looking at the collective work that they do on their individual subcommittees. And so I would like to just continue to thank them for their work and dedication. And I'm happy to answer any questions for the school committee.
Thank you very much for the update. We're so appreciative of all the work that Deirdre has put into the decision-making tools, the guiding document. I know it's been a lot for you to, a lot of work that you put into it too, is what I meant to say. And so we're appreciative of all of that. Does anybody have any questions for Jackie?
I've seen it before, I'm just not finding it right this second. Can you direct us on the website where to find it?
Yeah, so it's under, when you go to the school committee tab at the top of the district website, and then you scroll down to subcommittees and advisories on the left side, it would be the DRJ advisory.
Thank you.
Yeah, and they have there's a lot of really rich information there.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember, and I figured people listening might want to know.
Yeah, that was an excellent question, and the communications subcommittee just put out a survey trying to gauge this kind of thing, like how to find the information that lets people know about the work we're doing. So that is something the communications subcommittee is going to dig into next year. So thank you, Jackie. All right. I don't think there's any unfinished business that we need to cover tonight. So with that, I am going to adjourn our meeting at 8:23 p.m. Second.
Can we move it?
Yeah.
And move to adjourn. Meeting at 8:23 p.m. So Jackie's second. All in favor? All right. Thank you guys. Thanks for bearing with me tonight.